With Marilyn is here, I'm here, we're good. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 5th, 2025 Planning, Economic Development and Housing virtual committee meeting. The committee meeting can be viewed at HPA-TV, Comcast, Frontier Government Channels 96 and 6032. The meeting will also be streamed on via hpa-tv.org, HPA-TV Facebook, HPA-TV Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon TV apps. Also, the virtual committee meeting will be rebroadcast and made available on HPA TV YouTube channel. So welcome everyone. Let me see. We have voting member here, co-chair Councilman Gale, Majority Leader Marilyn Rossetti, and I'm Shirley Surgeon, the other co-chair of the meeting, and we have a quorum. This is great. Mr. Orchard, lovely to see you. Good evening. We have our Director of Development Services and Mr. Jack Benjamin. Welcome. See who else is here with us. Okay. We do have our Attorney Balasso. So, welcome everyone. We have a short agenda this evening. The first item on the agenda is a resolution by Mayor Aralumpalam confirming the appointment of Leon Stapleton to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I do believe Mr. Stapleton, I did see him. Yep, he's here. Okay, awesome. Good. Welcome, Mr. Stapleton, and thank you. This is a huge volunteerism. So
Thank you.
thank you so very much. Okay, so could you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in being on the City of Hartford Zoning Board of Appeals?
Sure. My name's Leonson Stapleton. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I moved to Hartford, Connecticut in 2016. And I think I've been in Hartford most of that time since I've been here. Um, Interesting, nervously speaking now on camera. Um, since I've lived in Hartford, I've always actually wanted to be involved in something in Hartford. I didn't know what entirely I wanted to do and how I wanted to be involved because my background is really in like analysis and like IT. So it's very like, how can I help? And then I came across this opportunity. Somebody mentioned it to me and I was like, that sounds like more of something I'm familiar with a lot of the background investigations. So I thought it would be pretty exciting and a new challenge because I'm normally behind the scenes, not really in the forefront. So it was pretty new and interesting to try something
And
different.
and we'll put you on television
You
already.
did. And I was like,
Welcome.
oh,
Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. Well, again, welcome for volunteering. Do we have any up Majority Leader Rossetti?
Thank you, Council President. I said to myself I wasn't going to say this time, but I have to say it because I say it every time.
Yes,
And
please.
you're next, Ms. Reyes. I just people have so much to do in their lives. We are so thrilled when people volunteer of their time, and particularly all the committees they're all equally important, but zoning is a certain niche. So really, thank you for stepping up to the plate, and we really appreciate it as a city. So thank you.
Yeah.
thank you. Welcome. I'm excited.
Me too. Councilman Gale.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be a little bit longer. And I'm just wondering, and for you, Ms. Reyes, as well, um, uh, have you had an opportunity, Mr. Stapleton, to actually go and watch a ZBA meeting?
No.
I have not. This was my first time was actually speaking to Mrs. Erie, just getting some background and familiar with like the ZB as a whole. I have not seen the meetings.
Okay, well, not that I want to talk you out of anything, but
Please, John,
and
please.
Council President, I apologize. I don't have the agenda in front of me. Is Mr.
Sure.
Stapleton, is he to be appointed as a full member or an alternate?
No, sir. He is gonna be uh it just says appointment of because normally the ZBA has 5 members and about 3 alternate, if I remember correctly. And this doesn't say alternate or a member of a full board member.
Okay, I don't know, Mr. Stapleton, do you recall, were you being nominated to be a full member at this point or an alternate?
I believe I was a full member, but I actually can't confirm that. I have to.
Okay, well, whatever. Whether
We
you're
need to
sitting,
confirm that, yeah.
often as an alternate, you sit because somebody can't make the meeting, and it's helpful to have five people. There are times, and let me just back up, since you haven't been to a ZBA meeting, and again, not that I want to talk you out of anything, but the Zoning Board of Appeals sits like a little court.
Mhm.
You are five members that are essentially a court. You're going to hear cases of people that are going to come before you, and you're going to have the ability to make decisions on their lives. You're going to have businesses and individuals
Oh,
that are
God.
that are confronted with a problem,
Mhm.
and they're going to be presenting their problem to you. So the types of cases that you will hear um, will break down into sort of two big buckets. One bucket will be variances, where somebody will be coming before you saying, I'm trying to do a certain thing. I'm trying to build a building on this lot. And the department, Mr. Walker is here. He's the head of that department. The Development Services Department, actually a subset of them, the Planning and Zoning Commission, has told me I can't do it. So people will come before you because they've been told they can't do something for some reason. And your staff is going to give you a report and they're going to tell you why we think this person can't do what they're trying to do. They might actually tell you that he should be able to do it. Sometimes you'll find that even staff agrees that our regulations don't make sense in this particular instance. And that's a good thing.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to impress upon you and Ms. Reyes, that you guys are there to help development in the city. And so you're going to have to be looking at these applications and thinking to yourself, well, is this the kind of thing that's going to make sense for that street, for that neighborhood, for those people? Or is this the kind of thing that isn't going to make sense? And I want to encourage you you don't necessarily have to believe staff. It's helpful. I mean, staff is getting paid to do a job, but you're the ultimate deciders.
Mhm.
And in the same way that a jury sitting on a case, even a criminal case, a jury can decide, you know what, we're not going to convict this guy. You, as the ZBA, can decide, you know what, I'm not sure that planning and zoning got this right. So, I want to encourage you to go in there and appreciate that you're the ultimate decider. We're putting you there as kind of the conscience of the community to make decisions when somebody, for whatever reason, is being prevented from doing a certain type of development. The second type of cases are very similar to the first type. The second type are going to be where somebody's actually appealing a decision that's been made. So you're called a zoning board of appeals. You're not going to get as many appeals. What you're mostly going to get, I believe, are variances. Um, that's sort of an appeal. It's an appeal from our regulation, but you will actually see appeals where somebody has made a decision, some sort of a cease and desist decision, for instance, and these things happen with some degree of regularity. And our zoning enforcement officer will have come out and said, look, whatever you're doing doesn't comply with our zoning. And we're telling you, you got to cease and desist, you're going to be hit with fines, whatever. We want you to conform your conduct. You're going to be sitting there as an appeal board, and you will have the ability to say, yep, zoning enforcement officer got it right, or no, they didn't get it right. Or maybe they got it right, but we probably should let this go. Maybe that's too strict a reading. So anyway, I know I'm going on, but I want to impress upon you, I'm a practicing lawyer. I have taken many people before zoning boards of appeals. These are very important bodies in the lifeblood of your community, the lifeblood of Hartford. Whether certain development gets to take place or not, whether we're considered somewhat friendly to development or not, And speaking for myself as a council member, I can say that, and I've said this often to development services, when somebody shows up wanting to spend money in our town, wanting to open a business, wanting to build a building in our town, my feeling is that our first instinct is to roll out the red carpet, not to say no. And so I'm encouraging you to come to this board with that mindset. Does this fit into reasonable development for our town? I mean, I don't want you to, disregard things and just let crazy things happen. But I think we find that sometimes our regulations get in the way, and you're there to cut through that when our regulations may not make a lot of sense. I'll give you a quick little analogy or example here. We had a case that came up before the ZBA not long ago where an individual was patching their front steps. They had concrete steps and the concrete had gotten a little deteriorated. They got one of these little patch mixes from Home Depot, and they went there and they patched their steps. And it turns out a zoning enforcement officer happened to be there for another reason, but cited this homeowner because his reading of our ordinances, our regulations, were that his property was historic. Almost everything in Hartford's historic. His property was historic, and he had to go to the Historic Commission before he patched the deteriorating concrete. Well, I didn't think that made a lot of sense. He didn't think it made a lot of sense, but so he ended up appealing it, and it went before the Zoning Board of Appeals. That's the kind of case that you might get in front of you, where staff is going to say, no, we think this is a fair reading of our statute. It says no alteration. That's what our ordinance says. No alteration. So is it an alteration when you're patching? Nah. Does the average homeowner think to patch his front steps, he's got to go make an application to the Historic Commission, right? So I give you that example as one way in which these matters come to you, where you may end up saying to staff, you know what, not this time. We're not quite sure that this makes sense. So anyway, long discussion about ZBA. Appreciate, as Councilwoman Rossetti said, appreciate that you're volunteering. Don't withdraw your name based on what I've just told you. But good luck with it. Thank you for stepping up to the plate on it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're also joined by Councilwoman Rosado, who's also a voting member on the PDNH committee. I know John went on, Councilman Gale, I apologize, John.
No problem.
Went on and on and on. But here's the reality, Mr. Stapleton and Ms. Reyes, is that, there's rules and laws on the books, but we're also, asking you to use some common sense, okay, when making decisions. As Councilman Gale talked about, building in the city, you basically made the decisions and, what is built and where it's built, and sometimes the community don't want to see something that the law says can be built beside their homes. And they may come to you and also, say and protest against the whatever legal zoning that they can do it. So I am asking personally, as a council member and also a resident of the city, that you also, in making decision, give some consideration to if the residents, come to meetings and ask for an appeals to be declined because of whatever reasons they may have, and using your common sense and understanding where the residents are coming from, and not just the black and white, where the law says you can do this or the ordinance says you can do this, so we're going to go that way. Use a little bit of personal common sense in making decisions. I do know that you may not have a lot of experience, like Councilman Gale, who's a real estate attorney, but you will be going through some training. And so I really think that after you go through your training, you'll get a better feel and a better understanding of the ordinances and the zoning regulations that are on the books of the city of Hartford. So don't let Councilman Gale scare you off, really, because we need more people like who want to be involved in the city and who want to take part on the governance of our city. So thank you for stepping up to the
Thank you.
plate. Uh, we just don't pay our Councilman Gale too much mind sometimes because, it's like, you're not scaring off another one, Councilman Gale. We won't let you scare him off.
I
So
know, Council President, I don't want Miss Reyes to leave before we even get to her
get
after.
to her. Absolutely. So, so, Councilwoman Rosado, would you have any comments or anything before the motion is on the floor?
Rossetti.
Councilwoman Rosado, not Rossetti, Rosado.
Yes, I just want to thank you, Mr. Stapleton and Ms. Reyes, for volunteering and stepping up. And I know that you're going to be a great asset to this board, and I look forward to seeing you on the board and building a relationship with the council to move our city forward. So thank you to both.
Thank you.
Yeah, and believe it or not, sometimes we do come to the Planning and Zoning Commission for the appeals as resident when we decided, as council person, but as a real resident who comes when we decide that we don't agree with the administration decision. So you will be seeing some of us. So thank you. I am open for a motion on the floor.
Move to send this back to council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and properly second to send back to council favorable recommendation in appointing Mr. Leon Stapleton to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those against? Any abstention? Seeing or hearing none? Congratulations, Mr. Stapleton. Welcome. And welcome. Guess what? I'm happy that you have moved to the city and left Brooklyn.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I love Hartford. So it's like, I don't plan to go anywhere else. So
There you go. So, welcome to Hartford. And thank you so very much for stepping up to the plate. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Great. Okay. Please stay with us for the rest of the meeting. Ms. Reyes, there is a second item on the agenda, resolution from Mayor Arulampalam, confirming the appointment of Ms. Leah Reyes to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Ms. Reyes, welcome. Good evening. How are you? Can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, now we can hear you.
Okay.
Great.
Thank
Well,
you so much for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Sure. My name is Leah Regis. I moved as well from Florida. It was only a few years ago in 2021. After that, I shortly started working for a nonprofit focusing on supporting the homeless sector through Mercy Housing in my sister's place. And because of my work within that organization, Hartford became a very sweet spot in my heart. And so I wanted to be more active. I joined the NRZ of Soto, which is where I was living in that time. And now, 3.5 years later, I have purchased my first home behind the rocks. And now that I am officially a community member, I want to be involved. I have spent time looking at and being present for some of the ZBA meetings. And while they are long and sometimes arduous, I understand the important work that the ZBA does. And I wanted to be a part of that. So when my friend Jonathan Cabral referred me to this position, I jumped for joy for the opportunity to be able to be a productive member of this community and growing it and building it to be what the community is asking for.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, let me just say first before anybody make any comment that you're a woman after my own heart. This is great. It's wonderful. Thank you for your excitement and your civic involvement. This is awesome. Okay. Majority Leader Rossetti.
Well, you heard what I said before, Ms. Reyes, but I
Yes,
want to say it again to you. I won't go on and try to scare you like Councilman Gale, which was needed.
I'm ready for it.
But there were some very good points to what he made,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But I really have to say it every time because when there's nights where you could be doing something with your family, with yourself, or whatever, you're doing something that really, and particularly, as I said, they're all important, but zoning is such, people really don't understand the domino effect to zoning. So I really, really appreciate you and, just the work that you do. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And once again, just to reiterate, I completely understand what Representative Gale was saying, and I understand the gravity of it. So when it gets down to be very meticulous matters, at one point I was watching a ZBA meeting, and they were discussing the height of a fence. And for that to be such a long conversation, to me, sure, that could be a long conversation. But to me, it meant that like community members were that much dedicated and wanting to obviously in that, I think for that specific instance, they really wanted to support the community member in what they needed. And so it would be an honor to be serving on this committee, or this board.
Councilman Gale?
Sure. Yeah, let me start all over and say what I said to, no, I won't do that. Thank you. Thank you for stepping up. One thing I will mention to both of you also, we're the city council. We get to change ordinances. We don't get to change the planning and zoning regulations. So there's sort of two sets of ordinances in Hartford. There's our zoning regulations, and our planning and zoning commission changes those. And then there's every other ordinance, and we change every other ordinance. So if you find in your work that council, there's something that needs to be changed on the council side, I'm sure I speak for all members on the screen here, our door is always open. Please feel free to, circle back to a council member and say, hey, this happened at this meeting and it looks like this ordinance, maybe you ought to look at this and change it. Probably more often than not, you're going to be directing those comments to Planning and Zoning Commission because they're the ones that you're going to be dealing mostly with their regulations. But anyway, just so you have it in mind. And
Okay.
thank you again for stepping up. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome, sir. Councilman Rosado.
Same comments as before.
Okay.
You're both
Well, it's just impressive to see Hartford residents stepping up and making yourself available to give back to the community. So I am open for a motion on the floor.
Move to send this back to council move to send Leah Reyes back to council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to favorably send back to the City Council Leah Reyes to be appointed for the Zoning Board of Appeal. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Don't see any discussion, no objections. Okay, congratulations, Ms. Reyes, and again, congratulations, Mr. Singleton. These items will go back to our council meeting, I believe, next Monday, for council meeting, for the overall body, to vote on this item of appointing you to the ZBA. So again, you can watch HPA-TV, and see the council meeting and find your item on the agenda to see when it will be voted and how the remaining council members of the council accept our favorable recommendation to them to appoint both of you all to the ZBA.
Okay,
So-
thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Please stay with us for the rest of the meeting. So thank you again for volunteering. So those are the two items we have. We should have a presentation from the Department of Development Services on give us an update on 110 Washington Street. Director Walker, are you ready to do so, sir?
I am. And welcome aboard to the two preceding me here. I went through the same introduction about a year and a half ago, and it's still the best decision I've made in my career. So we're glad to have you aboard. So the context of this particular line item, when the approval was given a month ago or so in the General Council to allow for the development rights for 110 Washington to be assigned to another developer in the spring, the ask was since 110 Washington is serving as a warming center, that would be, and it's going to serve that function this winter. The request from the council was, all right, well, it seems like definitely by granting the development rights to 110, you're taking a piece off the table for warming center solutions for the next year. So I had promised to give an update on where we are, as you know, every month on looking for more permanent solutions. This is a quick one. We've been very focused on figuring out how to accommodate all of the needs for this winter, and that's been our laser focus right now. We have in that process, however, come across two properties which are strong candidates for next year, and more of a more permanent 345 Main. We've been looking at, and we just got access to that today. We're going to be using the first floor for sure this winter. And there's some issues on the second floor with the fire marshal that we need to resolve. It seems pretty straightforward, and that is a strong candidate for what part of the assets we'll be using for next year. We're also looking at 81 Bartholomew and a few others around there. 81 is probably going to be just for this winter. If we do use it, it offers a very nice heated, ready to go solution potentially for a lot of beds. I honestly think that property could probably be better spent or better used for other purposes. But everything we're looking at right now to solve for this year, we are also looking at with a lens to solve for more permanent warming shelter solutions moving forward.
Majority Leader Rossetti.
Thank you, Director Ocker. So as someone who, deals with this all the time,
Yeah.
and I had asked, knowing that there was some discussion on those properties, can you give me understanding it's a very different population to serve, and I'm sure Ms. Reyes is familiar with this also. What are the difference in square footage from Washington to those two properties? What is the makeup? Is it open? Is it rooms? When you talk about separation, it's a difficult population. So what is the difference to the properties?
Yeah, so I'll start with separation. There is concern at 345 that if we leave lines to queue up, you are getting close to other services, youth services, things like that we have to figure out safety solutions for. But the team seems like they've got that under control. As to square footage, the issue and why we're looking for multiple solutions for this winter is 345 Main, the second floor. The state fire marshal determined that needs a whole new sprinkler system up there. So we've been talking about that an hour ago. Like, do we want to do a stopgap so we have more beds for this winter, or do we just look for more facilities where we can spread them out around? Right now, that's only giving us 20 beds on that first floor. I think the whole thing can get up to about 60, depending on how you squint your eyes at it. So about the same as 110, probably a little less. But even with 110 last year, I know we weren't up to the level of service and beds that we needed in places. So that's why we continue to look for others. 81 Bartholomew is huge. If you haven't been out there, it's a massive structure. The areas that we'd be looking at in there would be open, but it is a structure that the city has taken control of and has remediated. You have heat, you have hot water, you have some bathrooms already in there. It's framed up on the inside. It's not pretty, but with a few things around there, it can definitely serve the purpose. Again, is it ideal? No, Does it give us space? Yes. And so we just walked through that today with a lens on its warming center possibilities.
Again, through you, Council President. Thank you. So understanding again the setup, I think preferably for the people particularly who are running it this season and beyond, open space is a much easier solution. And my concern also about Main Street is, certainly Washington Street was on a main thoroughfare, but it's even a denser area on Main Street with the footage and the corner and quite frankly, businesses and, population that I love, but businesses that we're trying to encourage when some is reality, but some is a myth about who the population is. So when will so in the halls that I'm in the meetings I'm in, people are chomping at the bit to know nervous that there's not going to be a solution. When is the solution? When will we have an absolute solution to this?
Oof.
Because it's going to be like 43 in the day next week, and before you know it, one day it's going to be,
Well, I'm trying to think of how I give you a substantive answer, not just
no,
say,
I understand.
hold off. We have to have an adequate solution by December 1st, no matter what. Right? We will be judged on the beds that we have on December 1st. Anything we add along the way, if we figure out the top floor of 345 in the meantime, December 1 is what we get judged on. November 1 was the ideal, no December 1. And we do have other warming facilities around the city, but again, we know it's not enough. We're going into 345 with the whole team tomorrow. So we'll be able to look at some of that space. There's some suspicion that we may be able to get some more beds in there, but we want to see exactly how it's carved up because of, the space and the number of people you need to monitor separated spaces. So we got that. 81 Bartholomew, we just looked at today as well. So my boss could not be clearer than that he wants a solution to this yesterday. So let me get back to you, but honestly, some big breakthroughs came through today. I hope to have a solution next week is my hope, but you're getting into HHS and some things that are outside. I mean, I know what we can build, and there's other issues around the staffing in HHS that I can't speak to, but I think we've got real estate solutions.
Thank you, Director. I'm sure I know everyone is doing as much as they can, but I get asked practically once or twice a day. So
this is not, trust me, we're not happy with where we are right now at all.
Okay.
And like I said, our boss could not make it clearer that this has to be resolved in a.
And again, through you, Council President, because the alternate to that is, which we, I try to keep my hats kind of separate, but then we have to squelch. Then the rumors start. They're not going to do it. It's going to be off a bus line. So we won't, as soon as we have the answer or multiple answers, but a factual answer. And I hear what you're saying. So thank you. Thank you, Council President.
I think right now the solutions are overdetermined. This is the first time I felt that way. I think we have enough options that we're going to hit we'll answer the bell. We're trying to go beyond that because what we had last year wasn't enough. So ideally we'd be having more. So even if we hit that mark, we're going to overshoot it. Is our intent.
So, I did ask Majority Leader Rossetti because of her background and her career is in this sort of a knowledge base to actually head this up for the council members for us. My question is, would you then, if you can't use the second floor at 345, would you then use the two locations, Bartholomew and the first floor at 345?
Yeah, so literally, I left a call to come onto this one. The debate was, would we do 345 and 81, or would 81 be enough? And the question was, 81's so big, could we? But yeah.
Remember, through you, Council President,
Sure.
staffing also. You might staffing is always a real issue, Council President and colleagues. I don't know if you'd have to have almost duplicate staffing for both, locations, even though you could have less people you might have. So take that, take that into account too. Staffing is really hard to get at that for that. So just throw
The
that out.
that concern has been expressed very clearly. We think that we could adequately do it. It probably requires some push on volunteers and some help, but it's within tolerances that we could pull it off. But ideal, that's why I think we're looking at maybe 81 as a single solution for this winter. We do have some development possibilities coming in on that, but nothing that would be starting, it'd be kind of the same situation as 110. Use it for the winter, start work next year. 81, I don't think is a good alternative for a long-term solution, but it could very well serve this year completely.
Okay. Any other comments, questions for the director? So director, as you are making decisions, I would
Councilwoman
ask.
Rosado? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
I had a question,
Oh,
Council.
so sorry, Councilman Rosado.
He was
Please
being
go
a little
ahead.
coy
I
by
didn't see you.
it.
Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
Director Ocker, first of all, thank you for the amazing job that you're doing, because I personally know how intentional you are with the community. And I've seen it firsthand. So I think you've been, if not the best development director that the city of Hartford has had, who is intentional and really cares. I wanted to get that out of the way first. So my question is,
Thank you.
welcome. So my question is, one year, many years ago when I started on council, I actually went to a school, I can't remember the name, but it was up at the North End. And I went because, like Councilwoman Rossetti said, we started getting the calls. Are you gonna
Yeah.
open up? And one of their main concerns were, and I stood in line, I actually wanted to see it and nobody actually tell me, was, I imagine that this year with everything that's going on, the population needing to stay at these warming centers is going to be bigger than the one that we had last year. And so I saw people get in line or sit outside as early as 3 o'clock in the afternoon because they were afraid that when they opened up the doors at X time, there weren't going to be any beds. And so is there a conversation that perhaps we will open up these warming centers? And we can have this conversation offline, right? Because like you said, you're still getting information of how we're going to proceed, but will we have places besides, the libraries where individuals can be at that time, or perhaps open the centers a lot earlier? And will the Connecticut Transit buses also provide a form of a warming center if we're too booked and we don't have enough space? Will Connecticut Transit still continue this year to drive, up and down as a form of these individuals to be able to get warm?
Let me double check on that. I've been involved in the real estate and the building side of it. But I have not heard that we are facing any fewer resources or fewer programs than we did last year. Because the tone has been, last year we squeaked by, we need to exceed what we did last year. So I have not heard that, but let me go back and confirm on both of those. I've got opening the centers earlier and the libraries, the ones spread around, and then the status of the Connecticut Transit buses. All right, let me get back to you on that.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Council President.
So, in Councilman Rosado question, opening up early, wouldn't that cost more funds, more than anything else? Because I do agree with her. That was on Vine Street, Councilman Rosado, that you went to. And yes, people do line up way early, just to make sure they have a place to spend the night. I don't know about funding and how does that work and opening up. Okay, Councilwoman, please, you can please answer my question.
Councilwoman Rosado's point.
Yeah.
Listen, so many of us would do more if we had more. So absolutely, places should be open earlier, but the contracts are for a certain amount of money for a certain amount of time. If, just within the last so many years, people started being, day shelters versus night shelters, it all comes down to funding. Is it probably a population that needs to get in earlier? Absolutely. And I think that would require more funding. Would that be a good use of our resources? Absolutely.
So
Okay.
we can keep the cost of the building and the repairs and everything. And you guys know we've hit,
Yeah.
I don't want to sound joking or anything about this, but when 110 is ready to go and you've got that fire on the escape, you got 345, they're super willing to do it. We've got everything ready, and then there's an issue with the upstairs fire system. You're like we're right there, but we keep fighting, and like I said, um, my boss Shay and his boss Arunan could not be more clear on the priority of this issue. And
We do understand, Director Alker, that it's a tough situation right now. The time being,
yeah. But here's what we can offer you is if we do find some situations where there's an obvious solution to a problem or a way to, like, we're getting queue, if we know we're going to get a queue in a certain location and there's an opportunity for a reasonable amount of money to extend it to resolve that problem, let's have that back and forth as we go. Because like you said, it may, Councilman Rossetti, this may be the best use of the funds. Replacing a boiler for 20 beds isn't a great use of funds. Getting a couple extra people so you can get 2 extra hours or 3 extra hours, that seems reasonable.
yeah. Councilman Gale.
Yeah, thanks, Council President. Let me just kind of add to that that 345 location. Note, and I'm sure you've noted this. You've got a restaurant right next door, and next to that you've got a cafe, and next to that you got a second restaurant. And so, if 345 was going to be in the mix, I certainly would encourage, and if it came down to my ability to send some more funds to pay for it, I think I certainly would. If 345 is going to be in the mix, you would like to see it, I think, open early so that it's not going to interfere with these businesses.
It's a good point.
That would not be I'm sure that would not be a very fun fun event for that particular block. But
yeah, it heard and it's been discussed. It is one of those.
Yeah.
So that might be a vote for 81.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you. All right.
Thank you, Council President.
Yes, sir. And so will there be transportation getting to 81? How far up Bartholomew is it?
Let me get back to you. We just vouched for it as a viable candidate this afternoon. So, but let's Parkville should have.
That's pretty close to a bus line.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
and
right
that was always the goal, Council President, colleagues, to make sure when we looked at alternates to 110 that they were, very bus line adjacent, not like blocks away. So.
Okay. Well, all I can ask, Director, is that you keep Councilwoman Rossetti, please keep her informed, so therefore she can inform the rest of the council member on where we're going, the decisions that are made. Because I'm sure pretty soon we're going to all start getting the phone calls.
Yep.
So I would really appreciate that.
Right there on
So I only have one other thing I have to do. We did have a presentation from your department, Director Alker, for license and inspection. And so you've asked for us to put that on our December
yeah, I
meeting.
apologize there, but
Sure.
those of you that have met Judith is very, very thorough. And that's why we like her in the role she is in. And Judith takes great pride in her work. And she wants to talk to the mayor about some things. We've been kind of swamped with replacing some missing federal funds for key programs this last week. And then today she was dealing with 271.
All right. But
we want to do it right. We'll be there December 3rd. Bill's on. it'll be a good presentation.
Okay, excellent. And I do see that you have a new person in your department who is here at the meeting, Mr. Benjamin.
You guys haven't met Jack.
No,
No,
we haven't.
we
What?
have not yet. And I'm sorry, I'm cameraless right now. But those of you, I've gotten to meet two of you in person, and I look forward to meeting the rest. I'm Jack Benjamin. I'm the new Economic Development Director. I'm coming from being in the city of New Britain for a little under 4.5 years, in which I had planning and development under me. So I speak a lot of the development services language. I also have a background in grants and grant writing, and really am a municipal planner by trade. So get to sort of combine all of those things into this role. I think I've hit the ground running so far. We're working on a lot of different projects and good stuff, and I look forward to working with you all closely.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Benjamin.
And he makes a mean chili. I have to concede that.
Okay. I will look forward to introducing myself in person. One was to give you a little bit of chance for you to get, to meet a lot of people. I didn't want to put all, because believe me, Councilman Gill can go on about this. So is Councilwoman Surgeon can go on and planning and economic development. So thank you for wanting to work for the residents of the city of Hartford.
Of course. Thank you, Madam Chair. It's wonderful to talk to you.
Great. Looking forward to meeting with you. And I hope you are settling in okay with Mr. Walker.
Absolutely. He's been very hospitable.
Okay, if he gives you any trouble, just let us know.
All right. I know exactly where to go.
Councilman Rosado may have said he was a wonderful person and all this glorified things, but
I try to stay humble. So thank you I've got a whole group of
Council
people.
President, I believe Director just stuttered.
Yes, he did.
Can I say something through you?
For the record.
I want to ask Director Ocker, do we want to say you have a dream team over there now? In your
I'm down with it.
You gotta have the best of the best. I have to say it.
Right. And we got a new housing director. Hopefully, he can come to our meeting next time also.
Yeah, absolutely. We can set up some time for that. And for those of you that haven't met John Cabral, he's known, wonderful, deep in the practice of housing and administration, really set up to be the mayor's partner as we're thinking about new policy and new innovative places. Selena is still right there. She is making sure the hundreds of millions of dollars of federal and state funds that we steward here maintain that integrity. So it's a damn good team. I'm proud of it.
Oh, awesome. Looking forward, because I do want to see, remember we did put a couple $1 million in the housing department.
Yep.
So I really would like to hear any ideas of planning to do home ownership.
Okay. We'll get Jack or John on the schedule. We'll get Jack.
Okay, great. Well, any other comments? Seeing or no comments, and we have no other items on the agenda. The meeting is adjourned. Good night, everyone, and thank you so very much for joining us. Have a good evening.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Good night.